الله أكبر حي على الصلاة الله أكبر
Arise, giving all praises to Allah, the Father of the universe, cherisher and sustainer of all the boundless universes. Allah is the author, creator, the governor of the worlds, the almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. All praises are due to Allah. Islam, Moors? I extend the highest of honors to His Holy Divine Prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam? I also extend high honors to his forerunner, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, who did indeed warn and stir up the nations. Islam? I extend high honors to the Moorish flag, the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center. These 5 points represent love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. These are the 5 highest principles known to man. Islam? Extend high honors as well to the American flag, also known as the Stars and Stripes. This flag exists as a constant reminder that the European nations owe you, the Moors, with compound interest. Islam? This is also the flag of our birth. Islam, Moors? Extending honors to the noble Sheik staff, the noble Vanguard staff who keep the peace, and giving honors to you, the Ills and Bays, for without you there is no Moorish movement. Islam? How's everyone on the holy day? Praise Allah. Extending further honors as well to our brother Sheik Arweb Bey, gratitude Sheikh, for incarnating here tonight on the holy day and blessing us with his wisdom. It's always a wonder, and a high honor to have visitation from Grand Sheiks from other temples, because it brings us into a thought, that this is actually a national movement. A lot of times when we function in our local temples, you have a tendency of developing that European psychology, which fragments you away from the whole. Islam? But then when you have a Grand Sheik come and demonstrate, a high ether that we demonstrate, anyway, and it just comes together seamlessly. There were things, that, Brother Actor Sheik Raphael Hakeem Bey and, Grand Sheik Arweb Bey, that they both demonstrated. I was like, I had to restructure my demonstration because they said it already. Praise Allah. So praise Allah, y'all shaved some minutes off my demonstration. Praise Allah. Praise Allah for that. Sheik Raphael, did you demonstrate on Sheik Barnes Bey? Okay. I've had the honor, in my, 18 years being in this movement, of being close to certain Moorish American elders. And these Moorish American elders have offered me, guidance. They've pulled my coat when I was wrong. They've offered me correction, so on and so forth, right? If you know anything about the, the divine creed of our forefathers of Islam or Islamism, there was a holy unity between the Sheikh, which in Arabic is Sheikh, when it comes to anglicized as Sheikh, right? But the Sheikh, or the elder, right? And the apprentice or the neophyte or whichever, master and servant, right? Holy unity, right? To the point where, everything that the master does or the Sheik does, the student is watching. He tries to imitate everything that the master does, because everything that the master does, there's a lesson in it. Islam? One of my elders, Brother Sheik James Barnes Bey, just passed form Sunday, okay? May Allah be pleased with him. This elder was responsible for how I first met. I just want to share that really quick. Because if you look around, we're somewhat of a younger temple, So I met him under the auspices of, he was sent to investigate us because we were just young Moors demonstrating with a charter. And you know how it goes, Moor. Yes. Sometimes you get a pop-up from the elders, unannounced, right? And, praise Allah, he came when it wasn't, temple session, but just to meet me. And when he met me, it was like a spirit of love immediately. Like there was some people you notice that when you first meet them, there's no contention at all. It's just, it's almost familiar. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my first time meeting you in this life, but I know you. You know what I'm saying? Like Prophet even said, those that are with me were with me before. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing new. He gives us the degree on reincarnation. But, so from time to time, this elder has always, come by and just sat with me and just gave me his experience of 40 years in the Moorish Science Temple of America. You know what I mean? And why that's important is because, there are a lot of ones that are grabbing hold of this movement in a multitude of different ways. In this electrified age, they're getting it largely by way of the internet, in YouTube and so on and so forth. What's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with it is that this movement is not designed like that. This is a sacred institution that was passed from ancient times to now through our Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And he gave it in such a way where, the instructions are to be passed from mouth to ear, not from keyboard to screen. Islam, because what you can't get from keyboard to screen, you can't catch the spirit of the movement. You can get the history, you can get the dates, you can get how ones are carrying it, you know, but you can't get the essence of it. Islam, all right? But back to the elder, you know, he was always one that was really concerned. His major concern was the unity of us as a whole, as a nation. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff that we do that has nothing to do with us being Moorish American, but everything to do with us being under European psychology with fezzes and turbans on. You know what I'm saying? So the Negro mentality is one that's such. First, let's say the Negro mentality was manufactured. It was made in the USA and exported to nations around the world, right? So, you know, like if you'll notice, when various different nations went through their problems with trying to organize themselves as nations, right? They always mention that particular nation with the word question at the end. In other words, when the Armenians were trying to identify, get their, self-defining aspects of themselves within the Ottoman Empire, and because they were being persecuted by the Ottomans because they wouldn't call themselves Ottoman, they said, no, we're Armenian. The Ottomans didn't like that, right? So they persecuted them, right? So in their, their quest for that, arose something called the Armenian question, right? When the Jews were seeking a homeland, they went to Kenya and they went to Uganda, and they finally ended up in Palestine. During that sojourn, it was known as the Jewish question, right? But when it comes to us in this country, it's called the Negro problem. Why is being a Negro a problem? What is it that we do and how we think and how we move in the earth that causes a problem? Not only for ourselves, right, but for our families, for our communities, and the nation as a whole. What is it? That's not a rhetorical question. I'm asking that. What is it that we do that causes a problem? Islam, what?
Islam, I rise giving all praise, Father God Allah, and highest honor to the Prophet Noble Ali.
Islam, you recognize?
What I would say off the bat is the word in itself. You said the Jewish or the Armenian question. That word denotes a people. It has identity. It has a pedigree tie. It has all these different things. But the concept or the word Negro doesn't really denote a people. It's more a label. But so that's the problem. That's one problem.
Well, so that is the problem.
Yeah.
Islam, anyone else want to add on from the sisters? Why would that constitute a problem? Why is it referred to as the Negro problem? What is it that our people do that would classify it as a problem to those who know law?
I rise giving all honor to Allah, who is the beneficent, the compassionate, and the merciful, and to his prophet Noble Allah.
Islam, sister, you recognize?
So the first challenge that we're running into is that it is a Negro problem.
Islam.
And so if we are people who actually have a nationality and then we're labeled as a Negro, then it becomes a problem because we're acting outside of our nationality. So when it causes us to act outside of our nationality, then you have a division amongst us because you have those of us that have the Moorish American mindset and we operate as Moorish American internally and externally.
Islam.
And then you have those that are also demonstrating the Negro that has been created.
Islam. Praise Allah. One of the key aspects is the fact that the Negro identifies himself with his body. Islam, he thinks he is this. See, a lot of times I know with what the European has done with religion, it's made a lot of us feel a certain type of way about religion. When we hear the word religion, we check out. Islam? But I know we have some masterminds in the room. Can anyone tell me a time in history where we've ever been a secular people? By secular, worldly, like in other words, we were only dealt with national things, nothing divine. Let me throw a culture out here that our people, as soon as we wake up, we immediately grab hold to. Ancient Egypt. Right? We tell you everything about Medu-Neter and whatever. Was that a secular nation?
No, sir.
Anybody ever heard of the Book of Coming Forth by Day?
Yes, sir.
Anyone ever read it? What kind of themes do you get in the Book of Coming Forth by Day? The floor is open. Anyone? I see a lot of ankhs on in the room. I was kind of inspired by the ankhs being worn in the room. So I know it's being represented. I know Dr. Queen ain't gonna let us down.
Absolutely.
What type of themes?
The exact same things that I'm getting ready to teach on, inshallah, on Monday.
Islam.
Sunday. But all of the principles that we embody and that our beautiful flag embodies, you find within the Perms of Roots.
Islam.
So it is definitely us. And there's no time that we as a people have ever not been, because it's who we are.
Islam.
That's what helped us. How is it possible that we could have gone through 400 years of slavery
without it,
and we not have, or enslavement, without having that connection and not lose our complete mind?
Islam.
Right.
Islam. You know, and even in that, you know, during the slavery period, we pretty much were running, some of us were running on autopilot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because the conscious knowledge of it was strict. You didn't have access to it. Some did, but most didn't, right? So, you know, that being the case, we have to remember, like, if we were never, a secular people or only a worldly people, that means even our approach towards government has a divine origin.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you an example. Like, everybody here has heard the concept of inalienable rights, right? What's the concept of inalienable rights? What does that concept mean?
No matter who you are, these certain principles are yours.
Okay. Why? Islam.
I would say inalienable. When I think of inalienable, I think of God-given right.
Islam.
Like from the divine source.
Islam.
You know, that no one else can, like no different than I pray to Allah, you pray to Allah. You know, that connection. I don't come between that connection. We all tap into that connection. So I'm talking about unalienable right.
Islam.
That's what I assume that word was.
Islam. How many different cultures is this emblem found in? Multiple. Can we name a few? Sister Dr. Quinn, I know you know.
Well, Islam. Oh, now that one, that's
Yes. Specific, right? So, Ujjat, right?
Ujjat.
Right, exactly.
As well as the Eye of Heru,
The Eye of Heru.
as well.
No, keep going. Don't cut your wisdom.
The Eye of Thought. So all of those are
Right.
represented within Eye.
Islam, which they even drug the essence, the pure essence of the word thought or thought down. So when our young people hear that, a thought,
It's now negative.
it's extremely negative, just like Kush and everything. That's another topic, right? But other schools this is called the Eye of Providence. Some call it deity, so on and so forth, right? So the prophet is teaching according to science about the divine aspect of who we are. There's a certain omnipotence, an omnipotence that is the essence of all that is, right? So even if you're dealing with government, religion is law and law is government. Islam, right? But because we've been stripped from the essence of who we are, we hear religion and we automatically think that, the European did that. When we read Bible, we think that Bible is something that came from the European, right? But when all the lands, all the names, Islam, all Asiatic territories.
Absolutely.
So how did the European invent it if it's talking about you? It's not talking about countries in Europe.
Nope.
Islam? This sacred pamphlet here, right? On the opposite of the cover, just demonstrate the cover, the Holy Quran and the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his father God Allah, right? Inside the cover, Know Thyself and Allah, the genealogy of Jesus, life and works of Jesus in India, Europe, and Africa in the land of Egypt. What is interesting about the word Jesus? What do you see that's different?
It's in quotation marks.
Why would it be in quotation marks?
It's changing our mentality of what we've been taught.
Okay.
It's because usually whenever you have quotation marks, it's so-called.
So, did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name? Yes, but it cannot be used by those who are slave to sin, right? So there's an inference that there is another name. We're not going to deal with that. But the point is the fact, that's one aspect. Another aspect is that the Jesus that's being discussed don't have to be 2,000 years ago.
That's right.
What if the Jesus that is being discussed is you? What if the ordeals that are described in this pamphlet, right, are what the Masons refer to as a drama, right? That you have to live out the particular drama to get the degree. What if it was that, right? If we're wise enough to know that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was light years ahead of our people, We're still trying to unfold what he brought in 1913 to 1929. Still trying to figure it out. So clearly he taught according to science, right? How can we dare in our arrogance to think that on first glance we can look at something and know what he brought, right? The drama that's discussed in here takes a lifetime to unfold, right? And then there's times in our Sunday schools, we have a ball in Sunday school if y'all don't know, but there's times in our Sunday school where it gets so good, we demonstrated inconstancy a couple weeks ago, the chapter of inconstancy. And everybody was laughing as we were reading the instruction because we all knew the prophet was talking about us. So you read it, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I'm ignorant as I don't know why, yeah, I do that too. You know what I'm saying? And I laughed because I was like, this man knew us, right? It had to be one that was born amongst us, suffered everything we suffered, right? But incarnated and remembered from higher planes who we were. That's not mine, I got that from that more right there. Last time he visited us, right? He remembered, right? Hence we say the prophet was divinely prepared. Islam, right? We have to remember that this movement has to be treated with respect because it's not merely an organization. You cheapen it when it is an organization, but you cheapen it when you think that it's only an organization, right? If you went to, anybody ever heard of the Sons of Italy? Somebody has Google. I know some iPhones in the room. I know Dr. Queen got the 10. Should be beating up my little Android. Oh, that's an Android. I don't know how to do that, that's an Android. You did me like that last week, sister. You know, mercy is one of the aspects of the higher self, sister, I'm just saying. Right? If you can Google for me the Sons of Italy, and when you get it, just read me the initial write-up that you find, maybe a paragraph or so. The Sons of Italy. Sheik Heru Ranesi-El, what you got, Mom?
The Order Sons of Italy in America.
The Order.
Largest and oldest Italian-American fraternal organization in the United States.
Did it say just to say Italian or Italian? You said Italian what?
Italian-American.
Italian-American, Islam.
Yes, fraternal organization.
Fraternal.
A similar organization exists in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Can you read a little bit more on it?
Yes, sir. It was founded on June 22nd, 1905 by Dr. Vincenzo Solaro to help assimilate Italians into American society during the immigration boom of the early 20th century.
Pause. What does that sound like? Who else did that? That same thing. That sounds like Prophet Nobles Raleigh. Right? Helping us to assimilate into American society as American citizens. Because we have been disenfranchised and kept the thought of being disenfranchised. So even now when you talk to our people, mention something like voting and see what our people do. Get the cringing and Harlem shaking and you know what I'm saying? Shoulders. You know what I'm saying? You know, because we can't see ourselves as a part of that. But that is you. You're the government. Islam, you don't take your place in the affairs of men, you have no right to complain. Continue. A few more sentences if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Gratitude.
In 1928, Dr. Solaro was given the key to the city of New York in recognition of its social and medical achievements. After World War II, the organization faced criticism for the, quote, heavy involvement by the OSIA in Mussolini's fascist propaganda campaign in 1920s and 1930s.
Islam. And, because of movements like this is why the Prophet was careful. Like we have certain marching orders in Moorish Temple of America. Like we have a proscription or, a ban on allowing foreign Muslims to speak from behind our rostrums. They can visit, and, they can enjoy the lessons, so and so, but they cannot, whatever comes from behind this is policy. You understand what I'm saying? So, and even in the perception of that, someone speaking behind us there, that constitutes the official stance of the organization or the movement. Islam. So there's a lot of mistakes. There was an Ethiopian movement back in those days. And they took a very radical approach. So the Prophet says, no, you're not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian. Disassociating himself from certain particular radical and agitating ideals. Islam wars, all right? But the Sons of Italy is just one example. I'm from New Jersey originally. In New Jersey, the Sons of Italy run it. They have a bunch of spin-off, the Knights of Columbus, the Knights of this, whatever. The Sons of Italy is the umbrella, and they all branch off from there. Islam, and there's a bunch of different halls. If you want to throw a party, you're renting from them. If you want to get a job in the police force, you got to talk to so-and-so, and Officer so-and-so, and he's a part of that. Fraternal order. Islam, the Moorish Temple of America, we're not on first name basis. It's brother or sister so-and-so. Brother or sister so-and-so, and I know Moors are kind of funny about this, but I'll be careful how I deal with it. But dealing with brother or sister, anything is fraternal in design. Islam? The term fratricide means the killing of one's brother. Sororicide is the killing of one's sister. Islam? All right, so we are an order of sorts. If you've ever read the Charter of the Moorish Science Temple of America, it alludes to those points. Islam? But we're just not the orders that you're accustomed to, which are primarily European, right? But the orders of our forefathers, right? As an example, earlier I talked about master and servant, like the sheik, and and his servant or student. Anyone ever heard of Jalaluddin al-Rumi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jalaluddin al-Rumi, write his name down. Jalal. Next, put AD hyphen DIN. Next, DIN. And next, put AR hyphen RUMI. Next to al-Rumi, put in parentheses al-Balkhi, which is ALBALKHI. Close parenthesis, right? He was called Jalaluddin al-Rumi because he lived in the Byzantine area of the Roman Empire, right? Al-Rumi means the Roman. He wasn't Roman, okay? His master, he was a master Sufi. Who are the Sufis? Sufis are the mystical people approach Islam from a mystical perspective in Islam. And mystical, it kind of cheapens it because there's no mysteries, right? You know what I mean? But, the esoteric, essence of Islam, right? Much of, what the Prophet brought could be interpreted as Sufi. We don't call it that, but we understand it as parallels, right? His master's name was Shamsuddin Tabrizi, which is S-H-A-M, I feel like I'm at a spelling bee, S-H-A-M-S-U-D-D-I-N, Tabrizi, T-A-B-R-I-Z-I, right? When Jalaluddin al-Rumi first met his master was sitting in a marketplace. And, he went up to, because he had heard about him. He said, I want to study with you. I heard you're a great master. I want to study. He says, interesting. So he pulls down under the table. He has like a gourd of sorts. And he poured out 2 glasses of something. He said, sit with me. So he sat. He poured out 2 glasses of wine. Now in the ancient world, the Islamic world, wine was haram or forbidden, right? Because it's an intoxicant. So Jalaluddin goes, no, I can't drink that. People see me doing that and think I'm a kafir or a concealer of the truth. He said, you're not ready to be my student because you're still worried about what people think about you. Islam wars? See, the methodology of our forefathers' thought is what you have to grow into. Not the doctrinal aspect is the teaching. It's the holy instruction. You need that. Don't get me wrong, right? But don't think because you've memorized some facts. Anybody ever been in the presence of a parrot? The literal bird.
Yes, sir.
Right. My father had one named Pete. Pete was ill. Like you had to be very careful what you said around Pete because he's going to repeat it literally, right? And but I've read about parrots. I've heard about parrots. But being in his presence, it dawned on me that there's no wisdom there.
That's right.
He's only repeating what he's heard, as to the mention earlier on chapter 11, right? So when you hear people, I know brothers and sisters that can recite this to you by heart.
Absolutely.
The entire record,
Yes.
right? But upon inspection, you don't necessarily see them living it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And this is the thing that we want to approach with coming in, with proclaiming one's nationality and coming into the culture. Because it's a living culture. When you're dealing with anything relative to Moorish American, this is not something you join to evade something from the European. We like to shut that down at the door because that's what we get greeted with. Y'all think I'm playing. I had and by the way, Brother Jamar, Temple 19, has offered you some birthday cards, Mo. You weren't here last week, Mo, so happy birthday, Mo. Takbir! Praise Allah. I just received a letter today. One, you got 2, because one from my wife and I, whom I give honors, the beautiful little lady over there, and the temple itself. Islam wars? I just got a letter today from a brother from in one of the institutions. I get them all the time, which you always say prison, right? I'm going to leave his name out, but I just need you to get the context because I need you to see what we get presented with when people want to approach the movement. Dear brother and sister, I hope all is good and blessed. My name is, and I am from Atlanta, Georgia, and I am 39 years old. I've been taught about the MSTA. I'm serious about declaring my nationality because I do not want to be under the black label, and I want to come from being subject to the United States. Islam? Even though I am incarcerated. I know I'm not here for what I did. They got me on a contract. If you can I have a Circle 7 Quran? And I thank you. And I would also like someone to help me to do UCC 1. And I would also like to become a member of the MSTA. I hope this letter finds y'all good brothers and sisters in good spirit. Brother, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Right? I love my brother. Islam? But, he's under, and it's not his fault. He's under what the prophet called, being strangely mixed. Truth and falsehood, strangely mixed, right? Because while it's a beautiful thing to want to be a member of something, right? You have to have a clear perception of what you're joining, right? Or what you're proclaiming, right? Most people, they join movements, they join organizations or whatever, because that is the end thing at the time. I've seen this before, Feathers and turbans are hot now. We know there's an ebb and flow with that anymore. There's times when we get persecuted for looking like this. Islam, but there's times when, everybody's running up to us, oh, Islam, brother, whatever, right? But the point is that, the greatest of human is to be immutable, meaning to be unchangeable. So no matter which way the ethers go, you still Moorish American on your square. You can only be that when you're, taking and applying these lessons to self. Islam, but you can't apply the lessons to yourself by yourself. That's why the prophet said attend your meetings promptly. Islam? Like example, I was at Temple 11, our brother Grand Sheik Azim Hopkins, our brother Islam. May Allah continue to bless him. And it was one of the sisters, I think it was Sister Sharon Brown Hopkins, she gave a powerful demonstration about being addicted to Negro, black, and colored, where it's literally an addiction, turning up. We addicted to turning up. Right? That sounds fun, right? But it's destructive. My wife, myself, and my daughter, we were riding the other night and saw Asiatic young couple, had to be in their early 20s. And they were arguing going up the street. And the sister smacked the brother in the mouth. Right? So it was a teaching moment. So I told my daughter, who's 18, just turned 18, I said, you see that right there? I said, never do that. I said, because what comes behind that, right? Fortunately, he ate it. He took a couple more steps. That registered as punk in her mind. And she ran up and popped him a couple more times behind his head. Now, if he would have turned around and because men ain't built like that. Y'all know that, right? Everyone's clear on that. Men are not built, firstly, to argue for long periods of time. I tell young couples, watch arguing with brothers because men aren't meant to argue like that. Men have about a 2 to 3 minute arguing shelf life. And then something has to happen. Either I gotta leave, or I'm gonna jump in the car, or I'm gonna raise my voice and get irate, punch a hole in the wall, or do something crazy. Islam? Because men are designed to be doers, like when we see a problem, to solve it, not to just philosophize about it, right? So I give honors to the young brother for eating that and moving on, but I don't know how that went, because they kept, and I couldn't get in it because they was at high rate of speed and I was going opposite direction, and these days you don't really. You have to pick it. The prophet says, while your life is of use to others, it is thy duty to preserve it.
That's right.
Islam? So, But the point is, these are the type of things, but that's the Negro problem, right? So how do you take people that conduct themselves like this in public and build a nation out of that? Islam? That's the aspect of nation building that we have to approach. Like, it starts with you. It starts with raising yourself up. We all know the folly that we're all involved in. We know it. Right? But doing something in other words, you watching videotapes on YouTube about working out is not going to make you get in shape. Ain't that right, Brother Jamar? Brother's a personal trainer. I can watch all the videos in the world of the brother working out. I'm not going to lose no weight watching him work out. I have to challenge myself. Islam? Thought must be developed by the exercise of what? Strength. Islam was? And the only way to bring this together and make it magnificent as it's supposed to be is if we challenge ourselves. But we have to be around each other consistently, right? You know, and call each other to that. You know, like if I don't see you at the temple, I'll call you. I'll reach out to Islam. How you doing? You all right? You need anything first? You know, because it's not condescending. We're not judging. I'm literally concerned because I understand how the carnal plane works. You know, just because I spoke to you today don't mean I'll see you tomorrow. You can be out of here. Then there's that regret piece that we have to deal with, which we shouldn't be if we were doing what we were supposed to do. Islam? Back to my brother Barnes Bay for a second. Allah was speaking to me about 2 weeks before, giving me signs and symbols. I take notice, but I didn't have no reference for it. Sheik Barnes Bay helped to co-author a couple books. This is one of the books he co-authored. The Holy, you know, this of course is the Prophet did this, but in this right here, in this edition, what they did was they put in the Holy Quran, the Moorish Science Temple, the 101s, everything like in one source, so you don't have to, right? But in here also is a marriage ritual obligation, burial ritual, so on and so forth, right? So the last time he came, we did a birthday celebration for him about 2 months ago, and my wife brought him a cake. He turned 68. So you know, we had a nice celebration here. We sat him down, we asked him questions, sat at his feet and whatever. And so he gave me the book. A couple days later, I was reading it. I put it up. I went to go back to the book, couldn't find where I put it, right? After I get the word that he passed, a day later, I find the book. The book is on the page that says burial service, right? That's Exhibit A. Thank you, brother. Exhibit B. I'm at the house. Sheik Barnes Bay helped co-author another book known as the Mukarrabin Files, right? This is a latter edition. The original edition was 2 volumes, 600 pages each, right? This is a slimmed down version, right? And it says it right here, co-authored by, it says Sheik Heru and brother J.A. Barnes Bay. It's on there, right? Couldn't find this book. When you have a lot of books, anybody have these library problems? Okay. Couldn't find the book, right? So I'm at the house one day, laying on the bed in the bedroom. I looked over, I have, you know, I'm a Libra, I have to have books around me, is what we do. Books all by the bed. The book almost called out, picked me up, because it was open, you know, all you could see was the spiral. So I picked it up and it was this. I said, praise Allah, I've been looking for this book. I've been looking for this one for a year. It was right next to the bed. Get older, don't get old, all right? So, Exhibit B. Exhibit C, my wife, for about a week straight, talk Sheik Barnes back? No, get him on a call. I'll get to it. Get him on a call. I'll get to it. Libra, procrastination, all right? Get him on a call, give him a call. We haven't heard from him, give him a call. So, go to sleep Saturday night, wake up go to sleep Sunday night, wake up Monday morning. First thing I see when I open my phone up, Mo had passed away. Car accident, killed instantly. Wow. You know, somebody rear-ended him, pushed his car into another car. That car went to a tractor trailer, spun out of control. The coroner said he didn't suffer. You know, it was instant, right? But the point is that, you know, how do we measure time as Moorish Americans? By cycle ages. So you have to learn how to look for patterns of behavior, signs and symbols, the way we say are for conscious minds. You have to know how to look around you and see what these things are. Everything means something. Like the Moors demonstrate, hear ye cherubim, you seraphim, the protoplast. Everything has a purpose, but you have to know how to interpret that. You know, there's a form of astrology known as judicial astrology. This is when they, are able to forecast, like what your destiny is, that type of stuff. Like the one I like to tell of the story of, anybody ever heard of Abu Abdullah, the last sultan from 1492? They call him Boabdil, the European, right? They did a chart on him when he was born under judicial astrology, and they saw that the empire was going to fall under him. They came to him and they came to his father who was sultan, and said, look, well, this is what it says. There's a couple ways we can deal with this. We can let him live and let it fall, or we could let the soldiers take care of this for you. Right. And he was like, well, I don't know, let me think. His wife was like, sisters, y'all not killing my baby. That's right. I don't care what's gonna go down. So she took him to a neighboring province, and he grew up there. Then he was old enough, he came back, overthrew his father, he took power. Islam. But it was foretold that this was gonna happen. Islam, right? It was foretold that you were gonna be here this night. Think it's a strange happening? Think about the state of affairs that led you here tonight. You think it was your choice that led you here? So we actually think, yeah, I decided to come in. No, you didn't. You know, the universe shifted to guide you. Whether you met somebody and somebody asked you a question and, and you reached out for somebody, sent them a message and they offered you a time and, you know, you got to clear your schedule and then you ended up here. But seems like an accident, no strange happenings. Law governs all events. Islam was? Islam. So because it was preordained, now that's a big argument philosophically, right? Is it my willpower that's doing it or is it destiny that's doing it? Right? It's both. Your willpower leads you to your destiny, whether you're cognizant of it or not. Right? What you have to do is get your vanity and your ego in check. You know, the word that they use in our forefathers' tongue of Arabic for what they say ego, which is a Latin phrase, so the concepts don't exactly line up. But for ego would be nafs or nafsi, right? Which they say my spirit, right? Ruhu, R-U-W-H-U, is soul, okay? Which we have as ruach in Hebrew, right? The essence of who you are, you have to watch, you know, what you're identifying yourself as. The root of all of our problems is what we identify ourselves as, right? Because if you identify yourself as the body, you'll give in to the cravings of the body. Islam? Let me draw for something really quick. Chapter 17. Not gonna burden y'all. 5 more minutes. Y'all all right?
Take your time.
Praise Allah. You know, I got the best seat in the house. I like to read. I read eyes and stuff and body languages, and twitches and yawns, and scratching where you don't itch and all that type of stuff. Yeah.
Take your time.
Islam. Chapter 17. It's a long chapter. I'm not gonna read the whole chapter, Morris. I promise. I'm gonna start. Sheik already know where I'm going. I'm gonna start at instruction 35. So 17 for non-Roman readers. That's XVII. Chapter 17. Everybody say Islam when you're there. Y'all didn't say it like you meant it.
Islam.
Praise Allah. Y'all sound like y'all tired or something. Thought y'all came to work.
That's right, Mom.
Instruction 35. Now pay attention, Morris. I'm trying not to blaze through it. In flesh of man, there is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. This essence is parts of this essence quickened by the holy breath will raise the substance of the body to higher tone and make it like the substance of the bodies of the planes above, which human eyes cannot behold. There is a holy ministry in death. Let me pause there. Black according to science means what? Death. But the prophet said there's a holy ministry in death. Islam? The essence of the body cannot be quickened by the holy breath until the fixed is solved. The body must disintegrate, and this is death. Somebody who has one of those powerful iPhones. Let me get 1 Corinthians 15 and just go down to verse 45. 1 Corinthians 15:45. Because we honor all the true and divine prophets and we honor all the records. So it's truth everywhere, right? Right? And I'll read a couple more instructions while you're looking, right? It says, instruction 38, and then upon these pliant substances, Allah breathes, just as he breathed upon the chaos of the deep when the worlds were formed. All life springs forth from death. The carnal form is changed to form divine. That's what the Grand Sheik was demonstrating about. You are God incarnate. Islam? It says, the will of man makes possible the action of the holy breath. When will of man and will of Allah are one, the resurrection is a fact. In this we have the chemistry of mortal life, the ministry of death, the mystery of deific life. And I just go to 42. My human form was wholly given to bring my will to tune with the deific will. When this was done, my earth tasks were all done. And we had this thing, we say, well, people just die. Nobody just dies. You accomplished as much as you could in this lifetime. And your tasks were done. Come home. We'll reconstitute you, send you back if necessary. Right? But, when you see somebody die, their work was done in this life. Islam? There's no failure for the human soul. So anything that they did, was a sum total of what they had to do here. Islam? All right. If there's anything else in Allah's vast wisdom that soul needs to do, it can come back. Right? And think that it won't be. And talk to some of your grandparents when you bring little children around them. And they watch and say, that little one, yeah, he been here before.
Yep.
We've all heard that, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody in this room that hasn't heard that? That means on a subconscious level, our people accept reincarnation.
That's right.
Right? Is there anybody in here that growing up, you didn't know what your astrological sign was? That's what we always, even if it's just a sun sign, we're not even doing the whole chart. But something in us told our parents that you have to teach that baby that they're a Virgo. Islam, you know, and they might even make the little jokes, you know, well, you need to relax and stuff. You know, Virgos always think, always got their mind running. Ain't that right? See her laughing with the purple turban on? My daughter's a Virgo, that's how I know. All right? But, it's certain things that we just kept. You understand what I'm saying? But again, that's autopilot, right? But what this instruction talking about here, about that will of man, that's not autopilot, that's conscious. He said, what did he say? My human form was wholly given. Like he wasn't at the club and then at the temple on Friday. Nah, wholly given to bring my will into tune with deific will. Tune, that's done with vibrations and, right? With deific will. What is deific? God-man, God-like, right? And when this was done, my earth tasks all were done. Islam, all right? We often talk about the mental death of our people, right? But we can resurrect them. The formula to resurrect them is in those instructions. You got to teach them how to strengthen their will first, because our people's will has become sluggish. Stuff goes down around us and we just allow it to happen. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that when a Muslim sees something, right, there's 3 ways it can be dealt with, right? Said he can put his hands on it and change it, right? It's the greatest of ways, right? If you can't do that, then speak out against it. Denounce it, right? If you can't do that, despise it in your heart, right? He said, but that is the weakest of ways. And that's what our people have adopted as a lifestyle. Seeing stuff that's wrong and just despise it in our heart and just keep going, right? Instead of taking and changing it physically, getting involved, boots on the ground, bringing yourself wholly to be involved in that particular thing. The Prophet Noble Drali gives that to you as members, a member is active and not passive. Islam? So you're not sitting around waiting for the movement to do something. You're asking questions. This is a question Grand Sheiks love to hear but rarely do. Islam Grand Sheik, on what needs to be done or what can I do, to help the movement further. We very rarely hear that. True? Very rarely hear it. We can have a temple full of people and very rarely hear that, right? That's why most Grand Sheiks are we pray and we meditate. We do a lot of things to try to hear that voice, right? And those prayers don't go unanswered. And time I bear witness, Allah will send you the people that you need, right? Stop looking for, 700 people, right? If I had 7 soldiers, I could do the work of 700. Diehard soldiers where they're not demonstrating excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like who today, right now, had an excuse as to why they couldn't be here tonight? Right? That's a byproduct of being in a body. Excuses come with that. Oh, it was hot today. I don't feel like sitting in that hot temple listening to them sheiks talk all night. How many people ate today?
Yes.
I didn't eat nothing all day long. All day long. Pray, I'm not complaining, right? But praise Allah, right? But I could have used that as an excuse. I didn't eat, I'm hungry. Get me a nice, some of Sister Queen's vegan soups and Sister vegan master chef, what's that dish you brought to me and my wife the other? What was it called? The name of it? The More and More Love? No, that was last. See, she got her mind jumping time, all this good food. It was the breath of heaven soup. The breath of heaven soup. Look at the Moore face. You see that? He touched his soul. She said, breath of heaven. Ooh. And that's how I looked when I ate it.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah, we was acting a fool on that video. My wife, she ate the first. She bought us 2 mason jars.
2 ounce.
Right.
Mason jars.
Yeah.
1 for the Grand Sheik, 1 for the Grand Sheik.
Yep. My wife ate 3/4 of the first one. You hear me, Morris?
Half minutes.
I'm a worker, man. I stand up. I'm in here cutting hair. She said, I got you, Moore. Don't keep cutting. And that demonstration said, but the breath of heaven soup. Well, how divine is that now? That is an answer to a prayer I've been saying for a long time. The Moors has been here for a minute. They know I've been saying, if this is a living culture, we need to have foods that's named after our culture. This sister, soon as she came to the temple, she's on, how many meetings is this? This is about your, what? This is her 4th meeting here. She came here like, brother, you know, I do these soups and vegan dishes, and I name them after Moorish. It's not about to praise Allah. Okay. Because I've been crying out. You know what I mean? Because I know, you know, other cultures have dishes named after them. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I think it was last week, if you go to a Puerto Rican store and you get some arroz con pollo, that sounds hot. It just means chicken and rice. That's all it is. Chicken and rice, but it sounds exotic, right? So we can make our own exotic dishes and put our exotic names on them, and that's your culture. See, the other free nationals that have cultures around us, we think they're doing something extraordinary. No, they're not. They're applying good old common sense, right? And that's the thing, like, stop trying to be the deepest brother or sister in the room. Cut that out. I don't like to hear it no more. When I hear Moors flexing and all that with the dates and the etymology, I'm not impressed. Not impressed. I really try to walk the other way. That's right? Because again, you know, like in the Moorish High Temple of America, we don't elevate you based on what you know, we elevate you based on how you live.
Yes, sir.
Are you living the life accordingly?
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? You know, get married. It's a beautiful thing to have a family.
Yes, it is.
It's a beautiful thing. It's trying.
Yes, it is.
Nobody said it was gonna be easy.
That's right.
Right? Them kids gonna get on your nerves.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, I bear witness. I got 5 of them and 2 grandchildren. So when I'm like this, sometimes my mind be on some other. Sometimes I'll be happy doing the prayer. I'm like, shaking them off, right? And that's not even by marriage, because if I do by marriage, I got 2 more. Islam, right? So the point is, it has its times. But when you look at it as a whole, and the fact that Allah was beneficent enough to allow you to have, Allah trust you enough, you know what? I'm gonna let a being that's full of life, but has no control over itself, right, in your care, right? How many brothers in here with children? Remember the first time that you held your first child? So when your wife first handed it to you and it couldn't hold his head up, and you're like, if I drop this baby's whole existence is based on me knowing what to do. And brothers, we don't know what we're doing. Let's say that. Sisters, stop giving newborn babies to us. I'm gonna share something with you, and I'm gonna start lowering the meeting at this point. But my barbershop used to be on Auburn Avenue downtown. It was wintertime, right? So it was 2 halves to the shop. So I was in the back of the shop. I walked to the front, you know where the window was, and I happened to look out, and it had to be maybe about 35, 40 degrees outside. So brother had to be about 21, maybe 22. He has a big bomber type jacket on, so he's, you know, skull cap on, he's walking, but he has a newborn baby in his arm with a onesie on. Y'all know what a onesie is, brother? Y'all good? Which is basically a t-shirt with a snap in the middle, right? All right? I ran out, I said, yo, come here. So he walked over, he's like, what? Because, you know, he didn't know me, he's looking like, what? I said, bro, come in the shop, man, we gotta talk. Come here. I'm like, remember the spirit of a man is in him, right? I said, brother man, I said, it's cold outside, ain't it? He said, yeah, that's why I put this coat on. Look at the sisters. That hurt they feeling, right? I said, and the baby's just like this. Baby's like this. I said, brother, look at the baby. He said, well, yeah, you know, it's shaking. That's why you think it's shaking. Well, it's probably cold. But you got a coat on, but the baby don't. I said, where you going? He said, I'm going to my auntie's house. I said, here's my phone. Call your auntie, have her come here. Auntie pulls up. First thing she said when she walked, where's the baby's coat? Where are you? And she said words and phrases of articulation that I had never heard before. That's a new way to put that. You know what I'm saying? You know, but again, you know, boys don't grow up playing with Barbie dolls. We're not prepared for that. We have to be instructed how to do that. Islam, it's a new father right here. He can tell you. I remember Moors bringing the baby to the temple. I was like, ooh, look at his face. I said, yeah, I've been there. You know what I'm saying? Or how about when the baby first came out? Was y'all there for that?
Oh, yes, sir.
If you don't honor them sisters after that,
Come on.
a soul does not reside in you.
That's right.
Let's look at the boy face.
That's right.
I was there because he invited us to the birth. So it was like not in the room, but like, you know, in the lobby. And you don't mind me sharing this more?
Oh, yeah.
So the more came out, we were waiting. Sister finally had the baby. He comes out the room. He was like, I said, "Mo, you all right?" Wow, like, brother was gone. His body was there, but his soul was in the ether planes. He was traveling, you know. And I bear witness. I've been there. I've seen it 7 times. You know, I didn't want some of my grandchildren born. I said, I've been there already. My daughter was like, nah, need you in here. You know. Why am I sharing all this? I'm sharing all this to say that, Moors, this is a living culture.
Yes, sir.
Right? I'm sharing this to say that the time that we have is finite in this body. Our spirit knows nothing of time, right? And the byproduct of that is kind of why we are kind of lazy in this life. You know, what they translate as CP time, colored people's time. The meeting starts at 8 and we get there at 10, you know, and wonder why people walking out the door. Oh, y'all couldn't wait for me? Nah. You know what I'm saying? Because our spirit don't acknowledge time, but your body does. Islam. So you have to reconcile the two. But you have to come all, like one of my Moorish elders told me, he said, he said, you have to come all the way into the Moorish Science Temple of America. Right? And you might have a nationality card, but have you come into the temple? Into the inner gates. Revelations chapter 11, verse 1. Just want to share this with you. And then we get that Corinthians, and then I'll read the divine warning. Islam, Moors?
Islam.
Revelations 11. I was given a reed like a measuring rod and told, go and measure the temple of God and the altar with its worshipers, but exclude the outer court and do not measure it because it has been given to the Gentiles, been given to the nations, basically, right? And you can go on, it goes on even further. But the whole thing is that, you know, the stress was to be in the temple. What does the word profane mean? Anybody? They say profanity, right? People say cuss words, but what does the word profane mean?
Profane would be like Haram.
True, but the essence of the word profane literally means from profanus, which means to be outside of the temple. It's the conduct of those that are outside of the temple, right? But the original temple was this one, your divine self. Because when you're operating outside of that, taking on the attributes of the world, you become profane. And we can't use profanity even in the mildest form. Islam. Did somebody have that Corinthians, right? Would you mind reading it from 45 to 58? It's not a burden to you, is it? Okay, praise Allah.
45?
45 to 58. 1 Corinthians 15, 45 to 58.
And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. All right. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterwards that which is spiritual. The first man is of the earth, earthly. The second man is the Lord from heaven. As is the earthly, such are they also that are earthly. And as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. And as we have borne the image of the earthly, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Now this I say, brethren, the flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, neither doeth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and shall be changed.
Islam.
For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin, the sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. But thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ.
Islam. You can stop there, sister. But it's drawn off the same energy of the Quranic, verses from the Holy Quran, the more science simple, that the body can be made to be incorruptible. Islam, you can raise yourself up where you can be a living manifest of the divinity of the Most High. Islam, and while Allah lives, can man die? No. So the Grand Sheik just demonstrated illusions. It's just an illusion. And like the Moor said, it's just there. It's all in how you interpret it. Islam? All right. Are there any questions before we move forward? Questions, comments, concerns, or statements? All is well? Islam? 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 Islam. Islam. Moorish Science Temple of America, Noble Drew Ali founder, home office, Chicago, Illinois, March 11th, 1929. A warning from the Prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speech while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet is singing out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting the Prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Drew Ali. Islam? 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 Islam. Islam. All praise are due to Allah, and the highest of honors are to his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Islam, was y'all all right? Yes, praise Allah. Did you get a blessing tonight? Yes, sir. Were you able to walk away with something that's a little different thought than you had when you came in? All right? Praise Allah. Couple quick points I want to hit. I want to address a misnomer. There's a teaching out there that says the Moorish Science Temple of America, well, it's truth and false and strangely mixed. They teach that the Moorish Science Temple of America started out as a civic organization, right? And only teaching law and this and that or whatever. And they're under the Moorish Temple of Science or Moorish Holy Temple of Science, that all the Prophet taught was civics and law. That's all the Prophet taught. That's what they teach. This is the divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Islam? Let me read a couple things. Now, for those that are familiar with the Moorish Science Temple of America divine constitution and bylaws, just pay attention. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. The Assistant Grand Sheik is Assistant Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Islam? Islam. That sounds like the same wording, despite just the name of the organization. Islam? Act 2, all meetings are open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in the flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Islam? Islam. That's the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Islam? So, yes, he did teach civics back then, but there's Act 2 which talks about our holy day and Allah and the first man and Muslims and so on and so forth. Islam? So when you hear ones that are speaking about anything Moorish or the Moorish Science Temple of America or whatever, and they're not in the Moorish Science Temple of America, you have to know how to take that with a grain of salt. Yes, sir. Islam, Moors? I wanted to share that with you. I also wanted to share something really quick. Can I borrow 7 minutes of your time? Islam. One of our brothers, who goes by the name of Divine-El on Facebook, Islam to the Moor, he sent me a message of a YouTube clip of a European woman who has a video blog, and she deals with attacking like scammers and so on and so forth. She's been real big on going against the sovereign citizen ideology, so on and so forth. So have the Moors and Moorish Science Temple of America, because what happens is when people come to us, they come to us with a lot of fraudulent ideas, and a lot of that stuff is illegal and will get you incarcerated. Was it this week or last week? when the Asiatic sister that was up teaching these ideals during her Facebook Live, the cops came in and arrested her and took her out during the live, right? So what we're saying is this stuff is no joke. Not to mention that as a Grand Sheik, I've had federal government officials come and talk to me about certain things that's taking place in the name of Moorish. And they let me know clearly, my wife was there to bear me witness, they don't have a problem with this man right here. They don't have a problem with Prophet Noble Drew Ali. They know him. But they're like, well, we need to understand is what is this other stuff that's masquerading itself as you all? That's what we need to understand, because that is causing a lot of problems in the nation, right? So this right here is something on that.
Good afternoon, everyone. Virgo here. Okay, so I received this comment that I think is very important to get out to everyone, from my subscribers to the followers of Sharon Tracy Gale Bay, everybody in the consulate, and those that are representing the Moorish Science Temple of America. Firstly, before I read this, let me say that I have continued throughout my videos to make sure that there's a differentiation between those Moors that are part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, who are considered the pure Moors, versus those that are part of the consulate and other factions of the Moorish movement that technically are not actual pure Moors. They're actually con artists. So I have continued to make that statement for quite a while now. But I'm going to go ahead and read this because I do think that Divine's message is important, and we'll, move on from there. The statement is, the real Moors, who are American citizens, members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, followers of Noble Drew Ali, wish that people, such as yourself, understand that this crazy nut of a woman is not even in the Moorish community. She's not a member of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. We have our own laws, much like the Amish, the Mennonite, and the Hutterite, the Jews, etc. And she is not one of us. None of these processes and procedures come from our cultural practices, laws, or beliefs. This lady is not a Moor, but a moron. This legal theorem comes from the Sobsit Freeman on the Land, Posse Comitatus. Not going to say that word, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I do not want to end up getting this removed from YouTube. Patriot movements, scammers are running around mixing our beliefs with the redemption manual of the sovereignty patriot beliefs and are profiting off of disenfranchised, emotionally distraught individuals who suffered racism and historical lies at the hands of European Christian colonists. Now, please understand, over and over again, this is exactly what I have said, but regardless, I understand the reason why this person feels that they need to make this announcement. I have to say that this sounds a little accusatory when you can actually see from my videos that I've made a differentiation this whole time, but that's okay. I understand being upset. The frustration is understandable, but highly erroneous in not only its legal procedures, but its misuse of our people's, the Moorish Americans, name, our face, and our cause and movement established by Noble Drew Ali to solve the Negro problem. We've tried to reach out to her out of our purity and love, but her and her followers seem to be stuck in their ways and brainwashed into the teachings of the Sobsit movement. Shaking my head, we don't know if she's being used as a CIA/FBI COINTEL operative to assassinate the character, name, and face of the Moorish people, or if she's just plain stupid. But she's not a member of our nation, and we don't recognize none of her formalities. We wish no harm on any human being, but we do ask that whoever her family members are, may they please have her seriously committed involuntarily to seek immediate emergency psychological help. Again, we understand her frustrations about history and the way the country is being ran, But if you're not a registered voter, how can you be mad at politics that you have no desire to participate in as an American citizen? Some of our Native Americans simply, because we did travel over here before Columbus, but my God, lady, who are you and where did you come from? And how come you don't listen to the people you claim to be a part of? We, the officers of the Moorish Science Temple of America, will not tolerate foolishness being pushed in the name of our people, nor are you a member of the corporate body politic established by Drew Ali to protect and represent our people and interests. Bro Devon L., a true Moor and faithful card-carrying, dues-paying member of the MSTA, a father, a son, registered voter, and a faithful member of American society. Okay, so Divine L., I would like to say directly to you that I'm not sure exactly what you've heard about this channel, but what this channel does is debunk scams. We largely debunk scams of the movements that you specifically point to in this particular comment. The reason why Sharon Tracy Gale Bay is on our radar and the consulate is on our radar to begin with are because of the scams, the financial, erroneous paperwork, the fake liens that are being filed, and the damage that are being done largely to people who do not understand things like how these specific pieces of paperwork in the UCC actually work and what they really are. So, in reality, we are working towards the same thing. Whether or not we subscribe to the same spiritual belief, religion, or movements really doesn't matter in this case, because we need to be working together with regards to stopping the online scams and the selling her own group of individuals into slavery, because people that do these type of processes are going to find themselves with prison sentences. And that is what this channel and obviously you are trying to avoid. So we really need to be working together on this. I want to thank you for your comment, and I want to make sure that everybody is aware, once again, for months now, I've been saying there's a difference in factions of the Moorish movement. And the Moorish Science Temple of America are the actual Moors, those that actually attend the temples, those that actually review those teachings, versus the consulate individuals who believe for some reason or another that they're going to enslave everybody that is European or looks European, whether they are or not, and many other races too, apparently, and are pushing these false narratives. So, again, thank you for your comment, Divine L, and everybody, please make sure that you forward this video to anybody that you know that may be mistaking these two groups, because I don't want that misunderstanding. As far as I'm concerned, freedom of religion reigns in this country still, and hopefully always will. And by actually running these scams, we're losing more rights, not gaining them. Everybody have a great day.
Thoughts? Grand Sheik, what you got?
Islam, I'm literally just, I know about her video. I didn't know about her video, but there was a video before that previously with a lawyer who was talking to some brother. And I
stayed up 3, 4 in the morning watching it.
Yeah, and I was embarrassed.
Sad. Yeah, it was terrible. It was sad.
Feeling upset. I am honored that at least there are people who are trying to be honest.
Right.
Because I have a son, I have a wife.
Islam,
and I don't want them to have to deal with this sort of ideology which is becoming dangerous to our people. And so that at least gave me some hope, like, okay, at least some people from the outside aren't trying to loop in all Moors under this nonsense.
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, like, y'all have friends in areas y'all don't know, but you gotta live the life accordingly.
Yes,
it's serious to me, because, my wife and I, we're together like every day, all day. Sister Queen can tell you, pull up, we right together. My wife wears her turban all the time. She has a turban on all the time. I don't need no nutcases thinking they doing somebody a favor by making a move on my wife, because y'all won't see me no more. You know what I'm saying? So, the point is that, I just need anybody who's dealing with this Moorish movement to realize this is serious. You know what I'm saying? It's a very old movement. You know what I'm saying? How many people heard of J. Edgar Hoover?
Yes, sir.
Okay, who was J. Edgar Hoover? Islam, FBI director, former head of the FBI, who got his practice with Marcus Garvey and Noble Drew. Islam, he came on the scene like 1927 and ran to like 1974. You know what I mean? The FBI building is named after him. You know what I'm saying? They revised their practice and everything behind what he was doing. I think we talked about before, who he was actually mixed and passing for Europe. That's another story. But the point is that there are certain ones that are in there that are like, wait a minute. Now these people ain't what those people are. You know what I'm saying? And don't want to see. So they don't have to reach out. You know what I mean? That is a clandestine organization. So what they'll do is, and they've told me that they do this, speaking of FBI now, they send people in, and they just sit. And they don't contribute much to the meeting. They just sit. And at the end of the meeting, they're gone. Right? And the Sheik can tell you, I like to catch people before they hit the door, especially if they're a new face. 'Cause I just like to catch a vibe, to see what your energy is. But there's certain people I can't catch. Like soon as we hit the amen at the end of they're gone. You know what I mean? And general opinion offers no proof of truth, but it's my general opinion that may have been, right? But we have nothing to fear because we lived a life accordingly. Praise Allah. I tell brothers and sisters, if y'all involved in anything illegal, please keep that away from this temple. Don't bring it around me, my wife, my grandchildren, here's some title. Don't bring it around. We're not with it. The Prophet wasn't with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear nothing about you out here doing X, Y, and Z to raise money for the movement. That's declared out too.
Yes, sir.
Islam. But the point is that it's a changing going on. It's a rumbling going on in government affairs and stuff like that. And the Moors are slowly beginning to take their place back in the affairs of men. It's going to be a lot of turbulence with that. You know what I mean? Because your happiness is not everybody's happiness. There's a lot of revenue being generated by your ignorance, by our people's ignorance. You know what I'm saying? When we're wearing turbans, if sisters go and wear turbans, there's a lot of hair weave money that's going to be lost. You know what I'm saying? Sisters ain't putting weaves in their hair. Sisters ain't doing, doing whatever else. I don't want to be accusatory. That's what I'm trying to be. So I'm buffering as I'm talking. Especially with the sisters. I love you. I don't want y'all to turn on me. You ever had a room of sisters turn on you while you was demonstrating?
No, never.
Oh, I have. Woo! Talking about long demonstration and hot. Be hot up under the turban, right? So I'm careful, right? And it's not because they went off. It's just the energy cut off, and it's just like they're radiating, But the point is, we don't contribute to the economics of Negro, black, and colored, and that alone shifts things. Not to mention the fact that people that live by this, imagine them people held political office. What would they bring to the table? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To leave you with this thought, I read not too long ago that Saudi Arabia exports 8 million barrels of oil a day. If you multiply that by, barrel of oil now is $70, $80, something like that. So let's say $80 times 8 million every day. With that, there should be no poverty nowhere, definitely not in Saudi Arabia, but nowhere in the Islamic world. Because they're Muslim, right? Right? So there should be no poverty. I've been to Mecca, I've been to Medina, I've been to Jeddah, I've been in these, cities. It was a dude I saw who was so, I'm in the marketplace and I'm looking, and I see this guy walking like this, right? So I'm looking, why is he walking like that? So, there's a lot of people, so, it's Hajj season, so some mad people. So I look down at at his feet. But I swear by Allah, his toes were facing behind him and his heels were in front. So I ran over, I said, "Assalamu alaikum, brothers, please come eat with me. I want to." He said, "Oh, alhamdulillah," he had a bowl, he was begging. So he ate with me. And I said, "Well, talk with him about 15, 20 minutes, whatever." I had to ask. I said, my brother, what happened to your feet? He dropped his head. He said, "My family is very poor. And so my father, when I was a young boy, broke my feet to send me out so I could go beg for extra income." That's in Saudi Arabia with 8 million barrels a day. Do you understand what I'm saying? See, the problem is when you're demonstrating tyrant degrees with wealth. Islam? See, we ruled the world at one time, but then we fell. Why? Same stuff. Same stuff. So the Prophet brought this to change our nature before we got back in power. Because if not, we'd do it again. Islam. And with that, Moors, I love y'all with a perfect love. Thank you for sacrificing and toiling with us tonight. I know y'all tired.
Islam.
All right? And I know y'all still got to drive home. All right? But guess what? I want to see y'all on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Islam?
Islam.
Can I see y'all on Sunday?
حي على الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر حي على الصلاة